My name's James,
And my name's Phil.
and together we are Teamworks.
Teamworks. A team that works together.
Stays together. And hello, welcome to our podcast. This is new, so bear with us. But yeah, how are you, Phil, today?
I'm not bad myself. How are you, mate?
Not too bad. I mean, this is the first time doing a podcast, so it's going to be interesting to see how we do on this. But yeah, it's going to be fun, isn't it?
Yeah, just bear with us if we're a bit terrible.
Yeah, but we'll promise you we do get better, and we do talk a lot of nonsense anyway. So,
That's true.
so yeah, one of the topics that we want to talk about basically is the PS5 and how it was released and how was the pre-orders and all that. So, I just want to ask you a few questions, Phil. Obviously, you managed to get yourself one on the release date, which tell us about that because you were very, very lucky at getting one in the end, weren't you?
Yeah, it was very slim when I first tried it. So I know with you did yours through Amazon, wasn't it?
Yeah, I did. And once my dad pre-ordered it, basically in seconds the site crashed. So I was very, very lucky. Lucky my dad was on there for I think it was 10 minutes before they actually went on pre-order. So it wasn't too bad in the end. But I feel for everyone that didn't get a chance to pre-order it myself.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is with me, I'm not a morning person. So I missed out on the Amazon ones because it was, let's just say, a bit earlier than I get up. So I got mine with
Yeah.
Argos, but on the release date for Argos, it was meant to happen at 3 a.m., I believe. No, sorry, tell I 12 a.m.
Yeah.
But for some reason, they didn't do it. So I stayed awake up until 3:30 in the morning, and there was still no thing. I was sat there all morning just refreshing and nothing.
I mean, you would think they would send you some like notification to let you know that it's not coming out that time. You know the pre-orders, like.
I know, it was really annoying because I'm sat there like all night waiting for this to come through, thinking, well, looks like I'm not going to get a PlayStation until God knows how many months later when they finally release a second lot.
Exactly.
And evidently they decided that they weren't going to tell anyone. They just decided in the morning, I believe it was like 6 a.m. They just started releasing them on Argos then, and then they all sold out. Missed out on one. Luckily, my brother he found a way of getting a notification every time that the PS5 comes into a certain store and managed to pre-order one for me.
Yeah, well, that's
so
good.
I did get lucky in that sense. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I think we were both lucky because still today, I think it's 6 months after release date. The orders for people to try and get it, it's still difficult to get one at the moment.
I know, yeah. I mean, they did do another release not too long ago, but again, very few people got it, and so many people missed out.
I know, and yeah, they didn't bring many games out with it at the moment, but what I've heard recently that they're going to be having more exclusive games than they've ever had before. So that's a promising thing to look back on.
Yeah, and I mean, so at the minute, most of the games that we are playing on it is just PlayStation 4 games, which we already previously owned for the PS4, and the ones we got extra for buying the PS5. But there are a few free updates as well, weren't there, for PS5 versions?
Yeah, there was. In fact, there was quite a few because Watch Dogs Legion was one. We had the Spider-Man one, but obviously we bought that as a PS5 bundle anyway. But I think there was a few more. I'm trying to think of the other games. I'm not sure if you can remember any.
Hasn't The Witcher 3 recently got an update for that as well now?
No, I'm not. It's on the way. I know that, but they reckon it's going to be sometime in the summer. That one.
Right, fair enough.
But
so we will have to wait a bit for that.
Yeah, well, there was Crash Bandicoot. That's the one. Crash Bandicoot
Yeah.
4. That was one. Yeah, there's been quite a few, hasn't there? I mean, also you have backwards compatibility with PS4 games, which is brilliant. I was hoping they were going to go back to the first generations, but they feel like it's not worth doing that. But I think if fans push them, I think they've got it in the system that they can just do it through an update. I mean, Xbox did it on their console, didn't they?
Yeah, I mean, the annoying thing is the fact that during the first uh, event regarding Crash Bandicoot, I can't remember the person's name, but he came on stage wearing a T-shirt which had the original Crash Bandicoot design.
Exactly, I remember.
Yeah, which was for the PlayStation, and he's categorically said that he loved the original Crash Bandicoot and would love if PlayStation were able to do backwards compatibility. However, he's not stated whether yes we will, no we won't, or whether we can or whether we can't. So I do think it's possible. I mean, when the PlayStation 2 came out, it was just standard that you could play PlayStation 1 games in there, as it is with the PlayStation 5, and you're able to play PlayStation 4 games. Only trouble being is the fact that there's that many games now on the market, and so much time has passed between the PlayStation and PlayStation 1 and the PlayStation 4 and 5. So you can't actually buy PlayStation 1 or PlayStation 2 games brand new anymore for good reason. Yeah, so then PlayStation would actually lose money on that because they think, oh, well, if people can just get them games, people will stop buying the new games, which clearly isn't true because how many people have already bought PlayStation 5 games now when they've got hundreds of PlayStation 4 games that they can still play?
Exactly, and yeah, it's a good thing that they've done what they've done with PlayStation Plus for the PS5 because we didn't have many games coming out. So they tested the backwards compatibility with, 10 games, was it? I think, oh no, sorry, 20.
Yeah, it was 20 games, yeah.
Yeah, so that's a brilliant thing they've done, but I do think they should do backwards compatibility all the way back down to Generation 1, which is obviously the PlayStation 1. But we had the PlayStation before the PlayStation 1, and not a lot of people will actually know that, which is interesting.
Yeah, well, I remember we had the original PlayStation after it had first come out, and our PlayStation 1 was actually a portable one, which, well, it was called a portable one, but really you had to use it in a car. There was no other way of using it. But we absolutely loved that thing. I mean, in fact, you can actually see the version of that on Astrobot, the free game.
Yes, I remember. I mean, they did a good job with that. That was amazing, the way they've done that.
And I mean, the haptic feedback and everything on there is phenomenal.
Oh my god, yeah, that's another thing. If you haven't got a PS5 yet, hopefully you'll get one soon because the best part of the system is the controllers.
Absolutely. I mean, I don't know. I feel like it's added quite a few aspects from different things, and the fact that they've taken the inspiration from Nintendo's Joy-Con controllers, using the rumble pads as opposed to the generic motors inside each like side of the controller, which they always used to do up until, well, from PlayStation 2 onwards, I should say. PlayStation 1 originally never had any, but they've now changed them for rumble pads, and they've got them spaced out in the entire controller so that it's designed to feel the movement a bit better. Which I think is really clever when you think about it. And when you think about the amount of tech that's had to go in it for them to control that, it's phenomenal.
It's amazing as well. And the owner of Xbox turned around and said he really loves the console. And now you wouldn't have thought, he came out one day and said, do you know what? He's had a try of he's not holding it against him, he's not hardening it. And he said, I've actually tried the PS5 system and I really love it. I love the way the controller reacts to everything you do with the back panels. But yeah, he said he really enjoyed playing on the console, which is unusual coming from a rival console, isn't it?
Well, what's interesting about that is the fact that during the original Xbox and the PlayStation 2 days, that was a time where those two consoles could basically live in harmony, basically, and there was no real competition between the two. It was most people wouldn't argue about which one they'd have. It was just a standard thing, and then there wasn't this whole war between PlayStation and Xbox. It was just two consoles that were on the same level, and the fan base was gaming in a whole as opposed to separate consoles, which it's really interesting the fact that someone from Xbox has said that about PlayStation, because nowadays it is sadly the fact that you're either a PlayStation gamer or you're an Xbox gamer. You can't be both because there's such controversial between the two.
Exactly, and you know what? I've really obviously they brought crossplay out for quite a few games now, but that was something that I wanted back years ago when it was when the PS4 first came out, because I thought it'll make people interact a bit more. Also, I don't want to be going on to another console so just I can play me with the friends. I mean, some of us prefer Xbox and some prefer PlayStation. So when the crossplay came out, I thought this is the best thing going, because you'd be able to play against your friends knowing that you can actually be on the console you love.
But if you recall, a lot of the fans were, like campaigning for this for years, stating how they wanted crossplay. But it was always, oh no, we can't do that. It's impossible. We're never going to do that. And lo and behold, there's crossplay now between PlayStation, Xbox, and PC as well, if I'm not mistaken.
And Nintendo Switch as well, as we speak.
Oh, right, okay. I didn't actually know that. That's
not on every game, but I know Rogue Company, which is a big free-to-play game at the moment. That's cross-play between Nintendo Switch as well. So that's good. And Apex.
Dude, I did not know you could get Rogue on the Switch.
Yeah, it's not long been out. Like I think it's been out for about a month or two on the Switch. So it's in the early process at the moment.
Yeah, I think I might have to download that at some point then.
Yeah, no, because it'd be interesting to see how it works on the Switch, wouldn't it? Because obviously it's not got the greatest graphics, but it's not bad, is it?
I do think it'd be a bit of a struggle with the controller, in my opinion. I mean, personally, I'm used to the more. I suppose if you got the Pro controller, it wouldn't be as bad. But using the Joy-Cons, I feel like it might be a bit of a struggle because everything is on a much smaller scale, isn't it?
Well, even the analog sticks. I mean, the analogs are dead small, aren't they?
I know, yeah. And I mean, you consider as well, like myself, I've got the hired thumb grips so that the movement, you can move it more and have less movement, so you can be very precise about where you're aiming and everything.
Well, that's the one thing where I haven't got. I mean, I got the extra controller to go with the PS5, but then I didn't get my thumb grip, so it's one of them. Sometimes when I'm playing on a game, me thumb slip and then you obviously lost your game, haven't you? Basically.
Well, to be honest, there have been quite a few times where, let's just say, I've been getting into a game a little bit too much, and the thumb grips may have flown off mid-game.
Are you sure you didn't chuck them away?
Oh, definitely not. I have a lot of respect for my PS5 at the minute. But now, wait until I play a Crash Bandicoot game, then I might not have as much respect for it.
Oh, I know.
But there's been quite a few times where I've been moving the analog sticks a bit too much, and then they have come off. But it's not the end of the world. It does interfere quite a bit, and then you start panicking while you're still trying to play the game and ensure that they don't fly off completely, or
Yeah, and do you know what I've noticed about the analog sticks on the PS5 controller is that the rubber's not tearing away as quick as it used to on the PS4, which is a good bonus, because that always did my head in when the rubber was tearing away from the PS4 controller.
See, well, for me, I didn't actually notice that with the PS4, because from day one of having a PS4, which was not day one of when they were released, I've always had thumb grips on them for that reason,
Yeah.
because I was a big gamer for the PS1 and PS2.
Yeah.
Obviously, the original play analog sticks, but then when the PlayStation 2 was brought out, it did, and you could use that with the PlayStation 1 as well, so I recall. But
I think if go on, sorry, mate, go on.
I was going to say, but I remember the thumb grips on them; they used to break off quite a lot, and I do remember having quite a few controllers which just had the plastic circle with like 4 little holes on it, because
Oh
the
yeah,
fingers completely come off.
I
Yeah,
remember that.
quite annoying.
Well, either the storage has gone from really bad to really good as well, because do you remember the PS1? You used to have to buy these cards,
Memory cards,
memory
yeah.
cards to slot in, and then before then, the memory was very little. I mean, the Sega consoles, the memory was weird on that one.
Yeah, well, I mean, they actually didn't they save to the cartridge, just the game cartridge itself, didn't they? As I recall.
Yes, they did, but I think it was like the games only took like God, must have been a few megabytes, if that, each game.
Well, to be honest, I think it was kilobytes back then.
Kilobytes, yeah. Now it's gigabytes.
Yeah. Well, you had kilobytes for the Mega Drive, and I think Dreamcast used megabytes, and then
yeah, they did, yeah.
PlayStation originally, then megabytes, now terabytes.
Yeah.
I will say, when I first got my PlayStation 4, I did dismantle it and change the hard disk drive inside.
Yeah.
Because the one I bought was a 500 gig, and I was like, yeah, that's probably a bit small. And I found out that evidently, sooner or later, you're going to have to start deleting a load of stuff, because a lot of games take up a lot of space. So I was like, right, okay, well, I'll just replace it then. And I think, I can't remember whether I did a 2 terabyte or a 4 terabyte. I think it was 2, because the 4 was too big.
Yeah, I think you told me, because I think at the time when the first brought the update where you could actually use them, what you call it? They didn't use up to 4 gig. They said 4 gig would actually run it a bit too slow. So that's the reason why.
Do you mean 4 terabyte, not 4 gig?
Sorry, my fault. 4 gigabytes, 4 terabytes. Yeah, they're two different things.
No, well, I mean, as I say, when I first got it, I changed the hard disk drive, because the other thing with me, I take a lot of screenshots and I use photo mode on everything. Yeah, it's probably the photographer in me, that, but yeah, so I knew I would need a lot of space. So I thought, well, I'll change it. And then with the PS5 being an SSD, so a solid state drive, you've got substantially faster speeds, because there is no hard disk, so there is no time delay with that. However, I did buy a 5 terabyte hard disk drive for an external for it. I can't remember how much is the solid state inside. Is it like 800? 800
in the PS5 or?
Yeah, the PS5.
I think it did say it was 800. It's 820 something. But when you take that off the console with the system software and everything, it's probably about 700 and something.
Well, I mean, that's always the way with everything, isn't it? I mean, you buy a 5 terabyte hard drive and it's actually, I don't know, 4.8, 4.6, because they use a substantial amount for software and everything, which is a bit annoying. It's kind of false advertising in my eyes. I mean, it should have like an addendum. So like you've got 820 gigs dash, and then have the actual space that is usable on it.
Exactly.
So you know what you're getting from day one, really.
Well, that was one of the reasons why. Going back on the PS4, I had the 500 gigabyte one, which was the very first one. I think you had it as well, didn't you?
Well, I did, but I switched mine out, if you recall.
Yeah, and that's why I turned around and said, well, when the update came where you could actually use external hard drive through the USB, I was like, oh, mate, this is brilliant. So I ended up getting a 2 terabyte hard drive in the end, and that worked wonderful, because you could 50 odd games. But I tell you what, did I fill it up? Yes, I did.
Oh no, well, I remember, because I told you when it happened that I was changing it. And you said, oh, you know, it's void if you do that. And I said, well, the thing is, I bought mine secondhand. I was like, so its days were numbered anyway.
Yeah.
But then I remember like we'd be deciding what game to go on, and it'd be, oh, how about this? And you'd be like, oh, right, well, I deleted that the other day because I haven't got
Exactly.
and you were going through like a list of like, I don't know, 5 or 10 games you actually had because you had to delete the rest because there was no space at the time. But since having the external, you know, it's made life a lot easier for you, doesn't it?
Exactly, because we've come across some great deals over the past few years. Obviously, we do share play. It's a share game, or should I say?
Yeah.
Basically, that's cost us legs to nothing. I mean, we still spent a lot of money, but less, you know, because we're paying half each, which is really done a great favour to both of us, I think.
Yeah. I will say, though, I do think we've probably spent a fair bit more money than we would have if we didn't have that, because I know me particular, I wouldn't be going and buying a new game as soon as it came out. I was always one of them like, oh, I'll wait till it comes down by like 20 quid before, or £20 before I buy it, because I'm a bit of a cheapskate. But then since we like linked accounts like that, because you found it and I was like, that can't be legit. It's got to be you've got to be scamming PlayStation in one way or another by doing that. And I actually rang them up myself to try and figure it out with them. And yeah, no, it was a completely legit thing, which caught me off by surprise.
And you know what the thing as well is? That no one knew, no one realized they actually brought a weird video out where he was handing over a PS4 game over to his mate, a physical one. Now that was the teaser, but not a lot of people recognized that.
Yeah. See, what was me? I used to buy all my games secondhand because I was a complete cheapskate.
But sometimes you do, you know, if they're not scratched or anything, you know, you go, oh, I tell you what, that's cheaper. I'll go for that.
Well, in stating that, you know, I did used to buy some ones that were damaged as well for a really cheap price, and I used to take them into CEX and get them like professionally cleaned with like, I think the machine they used at the time was a like £1,500 machine.
Wow.
And I think they charged £1 to do it.
It's not bad, in the end,
well, no, I mean, I used to pay half price. So you got, let's just say, a £50 game selling second hand, it was down to 40, and then because it was damaged, I was then buying it for 20. So I ended up paying like £21 for a £50 game at the time. So I really was a cheapskate. I still am, but you know,
but you know, if you can do it, you know, you do it. I mean, I used to buy you know, copies. I mean, I remember Asda used to sell pre-owned, but then they stopped doing it. I mean, they used to do a deal where you got, I think it was 2 games for a tenner, something like that. I think it was, and these were pre-owned games in Asda at the time. But Asta's changed a lot because they don't actually do pre-owned games, as far as I know now.
Yeah, no, I don't think any of them do anymore, which is a bit sad.
Yeah, the only place you got is CNX.
Yeah, because there was Granger Games as well, but that closed down, which was quite sad. I used to love it in there.
I used to love it, and obviously it closed in our place, but I think it's closed altogether, isn't it?
I think so, yeah. I wouldn't be 100% sure, but I do think it is, yeah.
Yeah, and there's not many games around either. I mean, the nearest game to us is literally about how many miles away, you know?
Quite a few, let's just say that.
Yeah.
It's a good 20-30 minute drive away from us, isn't it?
Yeah, and that's the closest game, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. But, I mean, we are in quite a small town, but even still, you know, I think the only thing we've really got for gaming is the CEX, and then there is the Asda as well, which is only down the road, but you know, they charge through the nose anyway, so.
Yeah, because they're charging as brand new prices, aren't they? I mean, you go to CNX and you could pay like £2 for a game or something like that, something cheap.
Yeah. Well, I mean, to be perfectly honest, when I first got the PlayStation 4, I was in CEX constantly looking for dirt cheap prices, and the amount of games I got from there and from Cash Generator as well, to be honest, and Cash Converters.
Oh yeah, I forgot about them.
Yeah, I mean, Cash Converters. I was coming home from uni one day. I got off the train, and I was like, "Oh, there's Cash Converters there. I'll wait. I'll go and have a nose while I'm waiting for me taxi." So we'll go in and I see Dragon Ball. It's not Budokai. That was the PlayStation 2.
Yeah,
Xenoverse.
that's the
I think
one.
it
Yeah,
was,
I
yeah,
remember.
I think it might have been Xenoverse or Xenoverse 2, but I paid about £15 for that at the time in Cash Converters. Whereas going to CX, I know it was going for 25, so
And yeah,
£10
you
more.
just
But
think,
yeah,
yeah,
but that was second hand as well in CX. I mean, brand new. That was going for like 35, 40 quid. And that was even at the same time as well. So they thought that I was getting that game dirt cheap again.
yeah.
So, but then obviously through buying them through the PlayStation itself with our accounts linked, it just saved so much money. And I mean, because of it, we have got so many more games now. I mean, when I first
Exactly.
had the PS4, I used to have a drawer full of games, and I was like,
Same.
if someone said to me, "What games do you have for your PlayStation 4?" I
Well,
could rattle off. Yeah, I could rattle off. I've probably got about 20 games. I could rattle them all off. Now,
yeah.
if someone said, I'd be like, "Oh yeah, I've got about 678." Don't ask me what they are because I don't know.
Yeah, because we just see games that are on offer and you wake go, ooh, that looks good. We'll have a look at that.
Well, there's that, but then there's also PlayStation Plus games as well. I mean, you don't say no
Exactly.
to adding it to your library, do you? And
And
then,
now that you've got a PS5 or people that have got a PS5, because backwards compatibility, we're actually getting free games and not the two, which is
yeah,
absolutely awesome.
I will say, like early on when I had PlayStation Plus, they used to have really good games constantly. Like,
Yeah, they did. Yeah,
wasn't it like two AAA games and then some indie games as well?
and
And then
they
they
used to
just,
throw VR games as well later on, didn't they?
yeah,
When
yeah.
the VR games out.
But then, I mean, they just started giving away at the time. Let's just say they weren't as good games. They were much lower quality ones, and then they started giving out less, and then they cancelled the store. Was it on the PS3? I think.
They said they were going to, but then they've recently turned around and listened to the fans and said we're not going no longer going to close the
Oh
PlayStation
no,
Store
no.
now.
What I mean is that they stopped giving PlayStation Plus games for the PS3s. Then my
Oh
bad.
yeah, yeah.
Sorry about that.
They did it for the. It's all right, mate. They did it through the Vita as well because you used to have
Right.
monthly games coming through the Vita.
But the idea was when they did that is they were going to start giving us more and better quality games, which they didn't.
They didn't for a
Um,
while now.
no, I will say I remember. I think it was like 2 or 3 months on the run. We got a Telltale's game and a few other games each month. And I said, how good would it be if we got a Telltale's game every single month? I'd love that, but
Yeah, they went out of business, so you would.
I know that.
You
That
think,
annoyed me. That I love Telltales. Like,
yeah,
fair
exactly.
enough. It's not as much of a proper game as other games. It's kind of more. It's somewhere between a film and a game, isn't it? Really.
Yeah, basically, yeah. And I don't know whether anyone's took over them, but I've recently, well, yeah, the last few months, I've seen um, the Telltale games of The Walking Dead, but it's a different edition and they've brought it out. So I'm wondering if they've
Well,
they have handed over their business to someone else, but you don't hear of them anymore, do you?
the
The
thing
game's not
is,
out.
I can tell you what happened with that. Because as I recall, when they shut down, there was still a few Walking Dead Telltale's games that were being made, and what they did was they actually managed to keep a few members of staff who were willing to finish them off. To my knowledge, they didn't get
Yeah,
paid. I
yeah,
could
that's
be
right.
wrong there. I could be wrong, but to my knowledge, they didn't get paid. But they were like, we've started them, we're going to finish them off, and lo and behold,
Yeah,
they did. I think though, a lot of the members of staff, their services went to other projects. So I know there was a few animated TV series which
yeah.
they rarely have that Telltale style because it was a very stylized type of game. And there's a lot of series that now have that exact style because they got members from Telltale's.
Yeah, and I used to love the Telltale games. I mean, if anyone's not played it, they've got a great story. You don't do much in the games, but what's really good is if you're a trophy hunter, it's very good at getting the platinums anyway because it's that easy.
Yeah. I will say, like, because when I first started playing one, I was like, oh, it seems like a nice, interesting story, but
Yeah.
I wasn't 100% sure because, it was quite, just pick one of these four and then carry on.
Yeah.
But it does actually have an effect on the story, doesn't it?
Exactly. I mean, I don't know what your favorite Telltale games was, but mine, I'm between the Borderlands and the Wolf Among Us. But saying that, the Batman Telltale series was really good as well. So I'm not sure if you played all the games yet, but I don't know what was your favorite one.
My favorite one was Borderlands.
Yeah, I've got to admit, it was good.
Yeah, I really enjoyed the story to that.
Yeah.
I mean, I do feel a bit guilty in the sense that that was my first introduction to Borderlands, which is a bit bad, really, but I'm hopefully going to get into trying some of the other Borderlands games that aren't the Telltale one.
Yeah, exactly. And do you know what? My first one was the Borderlands. I think it was because I remember it was coming out for PlayStation Plus. And talking to PlayStation Plus as we speak as well.
Yeah.
Since the PS5's come out, I think they've actually really updated it really good. I mean, we're getting some decent games since before Christmas. So hopefully this is a brand new thing where they're going to carry on. And we've got how many new games for the PS5? It's brilliant, really, isn't it?
Absolutely. I mean, since buying the PS5, I do think that we've been inundated with good quality games. So I'm quite pleased with that.
The same, and we did get, which made sense. I don't know whether anyone does play it, but we got Battlefield 5 now. That did make sense as a part of a monthly game because Battlefield 6 is on its way, as we all know. We also got was it Wreckfest? There's a PS5 version of the game. Which actually looks good. I actually had a little go the other day, and you know what? It's quite interesting. I think I could get some fun out of it, and I think it's only like 20 odd trophies. So I think you can get the platinum quite handy.
If that's the case, I'll add that to my list of trophies.
Well,
got more than enough.
Talking of trophies, how many trophies are you on at the moment, Phil?
I think I'm on 31 platinums. Could be wrong.
And yeah, I'm behind because what I do is I end up going on one game. I go, "Oh, this is really, really good," and then I download another game and I start playing that and go, "Oh," and I never complete the trophies then. So what I need to do is I just need to stick to one game and get all the platinum, all the trophies for it and get the platinums on them, basically. Are you still there, mate? I think we've lost Phil for a second. Hopefully he'll jump back in. But yeah, we were talking about the PlayStation Plus games and what we're getting recently, which the games are fantastic. If you got a PS5, you do, like we said at the beginning of the show, you do get 20 games as part as the PlayStation Plus thing on the PS5 now. I don't know whether Phil's back or not. I think we lost him.